Seca has been the venue for not one but two events this weekend for the Ford Mustang Challenge. Mustang Challenge Racing 2 is brought to you this weekend by Ford, built Ford proud. And you join me, John Hindorf, and Ford Performance Ambassador, driver, extraordinary mentor, and motor racer down through the years. Andy Prior is alongside me here in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre. We could not have asked for a better day. It was glorious yesterday. It seems to be no less lovely today. Do I really need to tell you where WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca is? I hope not. Just off the coast at Monterey, down from Salinas. Very good in and out, just on the outskirts of Salinas. And one downtown in Monterey now as well. 2.25 miles of some of the most challenging and torturous tarmac anywhere in North America or the world, with 11 corners that are named after absolute legends. Andretti, Rahal, Rainey over at turn 9. Wayne Rainey has been here many times and reflects the two-wheeled history of this place as well. The corkscrew, of course, is the signature corner, the highest part of the circuit. In all, well over a couple of 100 feet of elevation changes, and 5 stories of that is dropping down from the top of the corkscrew to Rainey Corner. Now, I said there was 2 races this weekend. This is our second. We're getting ready for it now. So let's bring you up to date with the action from yesterday. The weather was just as kind to us. Robert Noaker led from pole in the blue and white number 13 car. All the action was going on behind. It was pretty clean until we had an incident at the top of the corkscrew. That was Scott Thompson coming together with Drew Noaker, and took them both out of the race ultimately. Then Alfonso Diaz and Alex Bashura started having their little scrap as they were battling for the minors. That was it. That went the way of Alfonso for a moment, but then he overshot, took the Zanardi line, and Bashura went back through. All of that was going on behind the man who completely dominated the Dark Horse category, and that was Robert Noaker. That was an impressive run yesterday, Andy, for the man from pole position. He's stamping his authority on the championship, and it's, you know, people think it's easy to win from pole position. It never is, but he absolutely paced himself perfectly yesterday.
He did a really solid job, John, and really nice to be back with you guys today. And I must say, you've done an awesome job for motorsport over the years, so I'm very proud to be in the booth with you, John. And yeah, I mean, Robert has set the pace all weekend, to be honest, but he's the hunted. And it's not easy being the guy that's everyone's trying to chase, and he didn't make, let's say he dominated yesterday, but only by 1 or 2 seconds. Yeah. So there's a lot of work for him still to do to repeat that today. He's got the target on his back today. We'll tell you who he's lining up against. It's no surprise that he's on pole position. You can see him behind the Dark Horse safety car, but here is our Ford Performance Mustang Challenge grid with 10 rows of 2 as they're forming up behind that lovely Dark Horse, available in right-hand drive for markets that need that. On row 10, Robert Noaker Racing's Joseph Dedricks and Nick Smithers for Nick Smither Racing. We've got LAP Motorsports, Bruce Marine, and the 84 is Paolo Salvatore. LAP are represented on row 8 as well with Scott Thomas. He'll be looking for a better result from yesterday, and NV Autosports Drew Noaker. Then it's Peterson Racing Group's Doug Peterson on row 7 with Competition Motors Jim Farley. Yes, that Jim Farley. That's the man at the top of Ford. He sits behind the big desk and makes all those big decisions, and he's out racing. Why? Because Ford is a company that races. Competition Motors teammate Tom Tate is 1 grid spot ahead on the outside of row 6. On the inside, NV Autosport Stephen Vida. Then it's Tom Pritt and Colin Harrison, Zach Lee in the 48 and Corbin Collins. And the front 3 rows, Marcus Vento, Alex Bashura, Sandy Cerello
Tech Sports Alfonso Diaz, who's the best of the Dark Horse legends, Devin Anderson and Robert Noaker on pole position. Perfect conditions for the second of 2 rounds, and the right foot is planted by Robert Noaker. He didn't give anybody a chance to pull up alongside him. 45 minutes on the clock, and he's already pulled, what, 4, 5, 6 Dark Horse lengths between himself and the chasing pack. Exactly what he would have wanted to do. And the Robert Noaker number 13 car, blue and white striped car, ahead of the outside pole sitter Devin Anderson for Tech Sport. Alfonso Diaz having a bit of a scrap there, and we've had a spinner. Oh my goodness, it's true no by again for NV Autosport. Didn't have the best of days yesterday. He was hoping for a bit of redemption today, but he spun it exiting the Andretti hairpin at turn 2. And now, was that his own undertaking, or did he get a help? No, it was his own. Tried to pinch the corner, actually, just steered in, needed to open his hands out just a little bit, I think, as he was coming out of there. Easy for me to say from the calm situation that we have in the Full Performance Global Broadcast Centre. Typical rough and tumble and cold tyre incident on the first lap.
Exactly, John. That's cold tyres. These cars have got no traction control, which is great for the right foot control. And it's a cold morning, a cold start, and he just got caught out there. Put the power down and lost the rear, basically. And I also saw Robert Noaker and a few of the other guys behind just working the tyre on the racing line, trying to bring some temperature in. Robert again made a very good start, and Anderson is, within a close 1 second behind him, so it's not a done deal, and the pack is very tight behind them. So this will be a very exciting race. And the nice thing about this, John, is it's a one-make series. All the cars are identical, and Robert is actually one of 6 of the junior Ford Performance drivers, so great to be out there out front.
That doesn't mean he gets any preferential treatment, though, Andy, in terms of the car. The car's the same. The drivers have to work with their respective teams to get a setup that works for them. They're quite heavy at the start of the race. They've got 45 minutes worth of fuel in them. They're on Michelin tyres. I suppose you have a choice. Do you set the car up for when the car's heavy, or do you set the car up for when it's light? And that's going to be the perennial question. Good dive down the inside at turn 5 there, and that's Marcus Vento going past Alfonso Diaz. That's a overall position, but Diaz still leading the Dark Horse Legends, which he won at a canter yesterday in that red, white and blue number 15 machine. How much difference will that setup make on a track, particularly like a track like here at Laguna Seca?
With the one-make series, there's nowhere to hide. All the cars are identical, and you've just got to learn to be clever. This is a longish race at 45 minutes, so you've got to take the tyre degradation into consideration. You've got no traction control to lean on, manual gear shift. All these factors are really teaching and training these guys to work it all out and how to optimize the stint. So I think with a one-make series, John, you're going to have a little safety car halfway through. We did yesterday, and I would be setting the car up to finish the race as strong as possible. And the degradation is very high around Laguna, so being clever and working with the DSSV dampers, the Multimatic dampers and the roll bars and everything else just teaches you how to develop the car and get it in its window.
I'm pleased you mentioned DSSV, because they are actually quite sophisticated dampers, shock absorbers people might call them, but they're an integral part of getting the car to work, multi-adjustable, and for a series at this level, particularly of this level of investment, actually it's quite a sophisticated suspension set.
It is. I mean, this is just the two-way damper to keep it more simple for the drivers and the teams. But the nice thing with the DSSV damper is, as it's a spool valve, it's very consistent, so it doesn't change. The damper stays consistent. It's the same for all the vehicles. Of course, if you want to go into the new Ford GTD with full adaptive suspension, adaptive damping and adaptive aero, then you get super complex. But these dampers are all, spec dampers, valved, all identical, and you just have bump and rebound adjustment, that's it. And you need to keep these things fairly simple, but there is some adjustability with front cambers and I believe roll bars as well. So you do have some parameters to work with, but ultimately it's going to be down to your driving and optimizing the setup.
Dare I say it, and I don't mean this in any derogatory way, that this is a bit of an old school series. You've got a 6-speed manual gearbox, 3 pedals. The traction control is what you feel from your backside and your right foot. Which if I say backside at this time in the morning, but I have now, so if I'm in trouble, I apologise. But it's what you can feel. And this is a bit of a throwback, and it absolutely evokes Mustang racing of the past.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I love that more thoroughbred racing. I mean, to have no TC is great because you learn how to, you know, be more gentle with the throttle and to learn to lean on the tyre a little bit, and not just totally rely on the traction control by turning the settings up. I think it's also better for the drivers to feel the tyre, and some of them are struggling here with a bit of power oversteer and having to correct, and all of these things make it more interesting, I think, and more yeah, it shows the true performance of the driver.
Huge difference in the track surface temperature from yesterday. The air temperature is a bit cooler as well, down at 59 Fahrenheit, which is an early morning temperature, as you might expect. We were much later in the day yesterday, or a little bit later in the day yesterday. Track temperature now 77. We were well into triple digits, 77 Fahrenheit, 25 Celsius. It got up to 52 during the mid to late afternoon yesterday. Now that is going to feel different. You will feel that, won't you, as a driver?
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely the track changes every hour, to be honest. And, you know, a night of no driving, and you wake up in the morning, the track is cold, a little bit dusty maybe. Maybe they have swept the track, but that also influences the feeling of grip as well. So they are going out with a completely blind read on this. It's never easy, John, starting a race. What is it, 8:30 or 9 in the morning? Literally straight on it, with no warm-up or anything. So I think Robert here is showing his class, and he's really, you know, pulling away at 2.2 seconds. That's the sign of confidence and a driver that's driving at the top of his game right now.
Just coming up to 20 minutes before 9 here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. And at the front of the field, Robert Noaker doing Robert Noaker things, as we've become accustomed to see him this season. And he's pulled out a very handy 2.25 second lead over the Tech Sport driver of Devin Anderson, the number 22 car, in second place. Devin has sprinted away a little bit from what is a decent battle pack, actually, behind him. Sandy Satullo, Marcus Vento, then Alfonso Diaz, who's got Bashura right behind him as they're going down through Rainy now. Alfonso is the best of the Dark Horse Legends drivers, and that is a battle for the lead of that category. Here comes Bashura down the inside in the final corner. Can't get that done, and oh, he goes wide. Diaz goes wide. Was there a little touch there as they went in?
I just think he over-defended, maybe got into the ABS and then ran wide on the exit. Quite easy to do that when you've got your mirrors full and you're not looking up to the exit to see where the edge of the track is. But John, some of your easiest races are the ones you win. These guys are fighting hard right now for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th place. You can't put a fag paper between these guys. And this is what I love about one-make racing, because look at them all. They're really learning to fend, attack, and they're having a right good time out there. But I have noticed quite a few of the guys are struggling with exit oversteer. I still think the track and the tyres are not quite, let's say, connecting nicely, and they are having a little bit of oversteer. So that, I think, is why Robert Noaker has just pulled away. He's very confident with the car, and he's obviously in the window that he loves the feel of the car, and he's driving away. But this is a hard fight here for what, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th position. So really tight in that particular pack there.
Bashura now leading the Dark Horse Legends. The cars are the same specification. It's the drivers for the that are basically depending, giving the dependence on which category you fall into, and those with the slightly more experience of life, perhaps.
Big oversteer there from car number 15. He's Diaz. He's been actually quite well. pressure from... oh, he's passed him again. They've passed again, so this race is continuing. No, we've got car 10 now involved. Vader, Steven Vaja, now he's having a play. So, yeah, it's really some tough racing all the way down the grid here.
Once again, Tom Tate going it, sending it, and down at turn number 11, he makes that stick with 14 minutes and 38, 37, 36 seconds to go side by side across the start-finish line. Which of those drivers will be given the position there? I think it was still Stephen. Yes, it was on the timing and scoring who had that for NV, but round the outside, Tom Tate goes and retakes that position being the battle that is going on for 11th and 10th and 11th, excuse me.
Some of your hardest races, John, are those races in the middle of the pack where you've probably driven the best race of your life and nobody knows it because you've come in P10. And as I said before, you know, Robert's out there just gapping these guys. It's a really classy performance. 8.6 seconds now over P2, Anderson, and showing, you know, his real speed at this stage of the race. He's not at all dropped back. Yesterday I think he was maybe controlling the race a little bit, being sensible, bagging the points for the championship, and today he's really shown a classy performance. But as I say, when you're out front, sometimes those are the easiest races, although when you win and you stand on the top step of the podium, you feel very proud, but some of your best races are when no one's watching in the middle of the field. So you're going to learn from top to bottom here how to race and how to perform well in all situations, and that's what this One Make series really teaches you to do.
13 minutes and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's take a look at our Ford Performance team update for race 2 this weekend. We've got a couple of teams to look at. Nick Smither in his own team. Nick's come up through the field and sits now in 15th, 6th in Dark Horse Legends, and that's Nick driving that number 58 car. The two LAP cars sitting pretty close together. Bruce Marine ahead of Scott Thompson. Bruce has moved up to 17th position in number 37, and Scott Thompson in 30th. Our Ford Performance team update for race 2 of the Mustang Challenge here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Good to see Bruce in that. I really like that dark grey with the red and blue stripes on. As I said, Bruce is going to Le Mans. He will be involved in that non-championship race. It's the green of the number 30 of Scott Thompson. Didn't finish the race yesterday after contact with Drew Nobile, wasn't it, who they came together. He's just lost a position there, I think. No, actually, it's Sandy Satulo who's going to put a lap on him. That metallic green colour is absolutely gorgeous, and it puts me in mind of the old Mach 1 Mustangs from the late 60s and the early 70s. That sort of metal flake green-blue colour. I owned a Mustang once for about 11 days, and it's a very long story, which I won't bore you with. I actually only drove it once. Again, there's a story behind that, but I won't bore you with that. But I drove it for about half a mile, and for about, I would think, a good quarter of a mile, the rear wheels was spinning.
Absolutely.
It was absolutely incredible. I wish I'd never got rid of it.
Such an iconic car, and I remember when I turned up, when I signed with Ford to race in the GT program in WEC, I turned up at home with my company Mustang, and I suddenly went to a higher level with my children, who'd obviously Gran Turismo and driving Mustangs, and I had some pretty cool company cars before that, but I suddenly went up in everyone's expectations.
But it's a global icon, the Mustang, isn't it? And has been since it was introduced. You've got to go back to the battles between Ford and their competitors, and the Mustang actually gave the name to the pony car wars, hence the name, the pony cars. But you know, this it has been a global icon since that first Lee Iacocca machine came out. It didn't hurt that Steve McQueen in Bullet gave it a pretty good reputation, but down through the years, it has held on to that iconic status.
It has. It is an iconic, that is the word for it, and you can't beat the rumble of a V8 5-litre, 500 plus horsepower, beautiful V8 engine thumping away there. And actually, John, while we've got this moment, we've got some good racing, so I won't go into too much detail, but it was amazing to see the GTD, Ford GTD set the ultimate yeah, that was Vento having a good race right there. But seeing the Ford GTD doing the 6-minute 52 lap around the Nordschleife,
that's incredible.
What a car! What a car!
Absolutely incredible. That was a road car, by the way. It says GTD. That wasn't GTD race car. That is the nomenclature for the ultimate Mustang. They are going to be made available to some very, very lucky people. And the performance level of that car is incredible. And on road tyres, it was Dirk Muller, wasn't it?
It was Dirk, yeah.
Yeah, who knows that place pretty well, in fairness.
Yeah, he's been born at the Green Hell, the Nordschleife. Obviously, an iconic race and a track that you do need a lot of experience on. Dirk's been very much a development driver on that project for that circuit, and he's done a great job, and as have all the Ford team, Ford Performance crew. They got that car in the sweet spot, 800 plus horsepower, adaptive damping, adaptive suspension, you name it, and that car set a phenomenal lap around there of 6:52, which I can tell you is really, really fast.
Well, it's 5.5 seconds quicker than the Mustang had gone the previous year, and it just goes to show that you never stand still. Robert Noaker, by the way, is just stretching into the distance here. This is uncharacteristic of this form of racing, a single manufacturer, single make racing with one car as into the pits, Colin Harrison. Now I think he's been off the circuit. Yes, he has. He stopped at turn 6 the last time around. So Colin in the number 21 Tech Sport, the black and orange car, and he ran long as well in his battle with Tom Tate and lost a couple of positions. Also, by the way, I'm hearing from race control now that Tom Tate will get a 10-second post-race penalty for the contact at the final corner with Jim Farley, the number 17 car, in there. Battle. Now at the moment Tom is 23. Yeah, he's just about 8.5, 9 seconds ahead of Jim Farley, so that might just swap back again before the end.
That was always my worry, John, that you're frustrated, you're so equally matched, it's a one-make series, and of course it's all about 100% aggression with 100% restraint, and every now and again you lose the restraint bit, and you take a lunge, and yeah, that's unfortunate. It was clean racing for the most part, and no harm done and no damage done there, but yeah, I mean, there is nowhere to hide in these one-make series. The cars are, as we said, all so equal, and it really is about how you work with your team, how you work with your engineer, how you tweak the car, tyre pressures, roll bars, dampers, and how you drive. So that's what I love about this, because you can learn so much, and the level is high. I mean, Robert Noaker is showing his class here. A 10-second gap in a one-make series, that is very impressive. And
his fastest lap is half a second quicker than the next best lap, which is Devin Anderson, and Devon's lap at 1:31.7 is a good 4 or 5 tenths quicker than the next best lap as well. So we're talking about a couple of drivers. You've got to feel a little bit for Devin Anderson here for Tech Sport, because without Robert Noaker, he'd be driving away from a team. He's 11.5 seconds away from Sandy Sotelo in third, who's 13 seconds away from Marcus Vento. Then there's the little battle between Marcus in fourth and Alex Batura, who leads the Dark Horse Legends in fifth place. Corbin Collins next up, another just on a second behind Alex Batura. Then Tate Pritt. Then it's Alfonso Diaz, second in the Legends in eighth. Tom Tate in ninth with that 10-second penalty down the inside for the number 18, the Valvoline coloured car. That is Marcus Vento as they're coming through traffic, and right behind him now is that olive green car of Alex Bashura. That is the battle for fourth and fifth position.
It is, and some traffic and some back markers always to spice things up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's been definitely a class act here from Robert Noaker. He runs his own team, I believe. Also, he works in the team as well. So not only is he driving, but he's also helping with the preparation of the cars and working within the team. So that's one thing you can really learn a lot, setting up your own car and understanding how to flat patch a vehicle and understand the whole mechanical side of the car is something that a race driver should understand, and it's a great experience for him to be able to do that as well. But yeah, we've got some traffic here, some back markers, and that's always spicing it up in the final laps of the race. So this is still not a done deal, but definitely Collins is in a good rhythm, and he's got a few, or maybe less than a second to close up behind. So he's pushing hard to Bashura, who had a great race yesterday. He was really showing good pace, and he is again today. His lap time is 1:32.9, and that whole pack there, third right through to seventh, are all very similar in pace. So it's a question of trying to force the mistake in front of you and optimize and materialize an opportunity to pass.
So the voice there of Andy Prio, who is alongside me, John Hindorf, in the For Performance Global Broadcast Centre. Good to have your company wherever you are in the world, and delighted that you can join us.
We just saw
Sound and Vision. That was a nice move.
Yeah, we just saw Collins as well losing the rear of the car on the exit of turn 3. He did really well to correct it and save it, and that's the nice thing. We're not having traction control. The cars are getting out of shape, and you do have to correct it and work a little bit more at the wheel and the pedals, and balance those two variables nicely together. And yeah, he was very lucky to correct that car, but he did well. Got 18 here, coming back through the traffic and flashing his lights like crazy. Vento, because he's under pressure from behind.
Yeah, he is indeed. Up the hill then for the number 18, leading this little group of cars, that Valvoline cars, and here comes Alex Bashura. Behind Alex is Scott Thompson in that very distinctive coloured car. He's not in that fight, but the other two certainly are, 4th and 5th, and leading the Dark Horse Legends for that darker coloured, the olive green car, of the second of that group of 4, but not, I don't think Alex Bashura is settling for this. Flashing of lights, Mr. Prio.
Absolutely, anything to put them off in front of you.
Right, have you ever been put off as a racing driver by somebody flashing your lights? Their lights behind you?
Only in the prototype when you've got the LMP1s coming through at Le Mans and your mirrors are full. But no, you know, as you, in these.
So why do you do it? Because all drivers do it.
It's just anything to distract the guy in front, to let him know you're coming through. And I think, you know, I always try to train myself that I would become a better driver when I'm being closely followed, and try to be stronger and look ahead. And in the old days when we used to do Formula 3, you'd turn the mirrors down, anything to stop looking in the mirrors, just to think forward and focus forward. But you never know, you know, John. You can flash the light and, you know, show your nose, and what you've got to try and do, it's like a game of chess, and you've got to force the move and use anything you can to get the guy in front of you to make a mistake.
A big change in the gap here. It's come down to just under 6 seconds, and that was down to Roberts the previous lap, not on this lap. He's still in the 35s here, so he's eased his pace a little bit. He'll get the white flag. Oh, you know, he might not. Let's see. He's doing 31s to 35s, and there's 32, 31. No, he will get the white flag as he comes across the line this time. And there it is. He's got 2.25 miles still to run. And this has been, I mean, a demonstration drive, Andy?
It has, but I'm very surprised to lose 5 seconds in one lap. So there must be something going on, whether there was traffic, or 5 less seconds in traffic is a big lump of time to lose. So, or he's just bringing the car home. As I say, he does prepare the cars himself as a family-run racing team, and you do need some mechanical sympathy. And I guess, you know, he's doing what he has to do. He's doing it in the Alain Prost way, win at the slower speed.
Yeah.
He's shown his pace, he drove away, he's dominated this performance, he's done the fastest lap of the race, he's got nothing more to prove. But yeah, of course, to finish first you must finish.
And he is finishing this weekend in style. He will increase his lead at the head of the championship. We still haven't resolved the battle for 4th overall, where Marcus Vento is the 4th of the Dark Horse runners, 13 seconds away from a step on the podium at the moment, defending from the Dark Horse Legend leader. That's going on behind the Robert Noaker Racing blue and white number 13, who comes round Rainy Curve for the final time, sets the car up to the left-hand side of the road before dropping it in to the banked corner number 10, down through the gearbox. I bet he doesn't even go all the way down the box here. He'll be doing that in second gear so he doesn't spin it up too much. Coming out the final corner, shift up to third, shift up to fourth. He can kick in the clutch now and let it roll to the line. He goes to the wall to salute the Robert Noaker Racing team and wins it by the considerable margin of 3 seconds. He had 3 times that with 3 or 4 laps to go, so he really eased his pace towards the end. And here is that battle for 4th position. Sandy Satulo should be coming through any second now. There he is. So Devin Anderson's gone through. Sandy Satulo is the 3rd step on the overall podium, and 4th position has been disputed from just on halfway through the race. And it will go to Marcus Vento. Alish Bashura in 5th takes the Dark Horse Legends top step and will take top points in that 2nd category. It's Alfonso Diaz who worked his way back up to 7th, actually. He got ahead of Tate Pritt, and Tom Tate coming through with that 10-second penalty, waiting to see him go across the line. He should come through in 9th for Competition Motors, and he still hasn't come through. Quite a gap between those top cars. I'll keep an eye on that, whilst Andy Priault gives some due credit to pretty much a perfect weekend. As good as you can get from Robert Noaker.
Absolutely, yeah, he's dominated this weekend. He's been quick from free practice right through to qualifying, race 1 and race 2. He can go home happy today. He's done a brilliant job. He's bagged a lot of points, leading the championship, I'm sure, and yeah, looking and getting one step closer to graduating within the Ford Performance Junior program to not bigger and better things, but to the GT3 and GT4 car in the future.
Confirmation of the unofficial results, and that 10-second penalty has been added to the time of car number 8, so that has dropped Tom Tate back a couple of positions, but he's still actually finished ahead of Jim Farley. So the top 4 were all the Dark Horse entrants. Noaker, Anderson, Satulo on the box, and then Marcus Vento. Alex Bashura with that audacious manoeuvre early on to get past Alfonso Diaz takes Dark Horse Legends, and behind Corbin Collins, Alfonso is in 2nd in that category. Then Tate Pritt in 8th, Stephen Viger in 9th, Tom Tate in 10th for the Legends is 4th in that class. Jim Farley in 11th, moving up through the field. Then Doug Peterson, Paolo Salvatore, Nick Smither, who we were keeping an eye on, he moved forward. Joseph Dedricks, Bruce Marine as well moved up to 16th ahead of Scott Thompson, Drew Dunbar, Colin Harrison and Zach Lee. Had problems those last 2 and didn't get to the checkered flag. Andy Priault from Ford Performance, representing Ford Performance in the booth this weekend, one of our rotating special guest commentators. Have you had a good time?
John, it's been great.
Good racing, isn't it?
Fantastic. It's great to see all the live feed here as well, and actually a pleasure to work with you at Radio Le Mans. For many years, you've done a lot for the sport, so it's wonderful to be with you in the studio. Good
luck with what you're doing with you and with Seb and the family, you and Joe, and Danny, your daughter as well, and also with the BRDC. Should be said that Andy is a leading light in the British Racing Drivers Club that do so much more than just at Silverstone for British motorsport and for good charity works as well. So we will wrap up then from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. 2 races, 2 wins, 2 poles, 2 fastest lap. That was the Robert Noaker West Coast Swing. We move on to the rest of the season, and we'll have it live for you here on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV. I'm John Hindhaugh. Thanks for joining us. For the whole production team, bye for now.